Howdy, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Card Blitz. My name is Kelly, and I'm joined by my good buddy Patrick and our guest, Ray Fonio. Ray, Patrick, how y'all doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Good. How are you guys?
Good. It's a Wednesday night. We've got some NBA playoffs going on. We've got like this National Baseball Card Hall of Fame voting thing going on, NFL draft. We've got a lot to talk about, don't we?
Yeah. It's a busy time of the year, that's for sure.
Yes. Awesome.
Well, Ray, you ready to just get after it, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, all right. So, uh, for our viewers, man, tell us like I see you got a ton of cards in the background. Obviously, you were in the
Yeah.
hobby at one point. Tell us your origin story, man. I'm all ears.
Well, I started collecting baseball cards in, I'm really going to show my age here, 1979. Um, my grandfather got me involved in collecting baseball cards in 1979 and was heavily doing collecting for about 8 years. And then, like everyone else, when you finish high school, you're into girls or whatever, you're like going to school or college, and you take a break for a few years, and then um, 1989, it was right around when Mike Schmidt retired. I don't know, it got me back into it again in 1989, and I haven't stopped ever since. And yeah, so been collecting. Started with doing sets and putting binders together year after year. And then recently, I would say 10 years ago is when I started getting into graded cards, into specifically PSA graded baseball cards, and then going into the PSA set registry, which is unbelievable. It keeps you focused, and it's a really fun way to collect. So for the past 10 years, that's really the main thing that I've been doing is collecting PSA graded cards for the set registries.
In regards to the PSA set registry
Hmm.
concept, are you competing with like others, or is it you're competing against yourself and just saying, hey, like I've got X amount of cards and X amount of grades, and how do they stack up to mine?
Nah, you're
How does that
competing
work?
against others. So, for
Oh,
example, my number one favorite set is a set called the 300 Great Baseball Cards of the 20th Century by Mike Payne, which was a book written
Mhm.
by Mike Payne. And PSA made that book into a set registry. And so it's the 300 great cards that Mike Payne published in that book. And there's a few hundred people worldwide that are in that set registry. The other sets that I'm in is like the post-war rookie Hall of Fame set registry. So it's all rookie cards of Hall of Famers from 1948 to current. And there's several hundred in that set registry.
Mhm.
And then I'll do player runs. I just finished the Frank Robinson PSA Basic Tops run. So I'm in almost 70 set registries. I think 66 to be exact.
wow.
And you're competing against other people. Yeah.
So do 1979 Topps Baseball, for example, that's
Uh-huh.
your inaugural set, the one that you started off with. Do people compete like for that entire 1979 set run, like all, was it 660 cards and saying like, hey, who's got the highest PSA grades, 1 to
You
60,
could. You
or
could do
Really?
the whole set,
Okay.
or for some of them will do just the Hall of Famers for that set. Because not everybody, it could be incredibly expensive to buy graded cards of every player.
I
Six
imagine.
600 cards. That's a lot of plastic.
Yeah.
So they'll do Hall of Famers for that year. So say the 79 Topps Hall of Fame set, there could be like 40 cards. So it's 10 times more doable. And yeah, PSA has a grading system. So um, if the higher the grades you have, the more points, or they have a weight scale of what they
Okay.
determine what card is more valuable or more rare than the other. So they calculate your points, and then that's how you're ranked into that system. So I think in the 300 set, I'm ranked 10th, which is pretty
Wow.
cool.
It's pretty good, man.
That's
Yeah,
amazingly awesome,
thanks.
Ray. Holy
That's
cow.
that's that's a lot of years.
On average, I mean, what kind of like grades do you have for that? It's like a 4, 5, 6. I mean, like
I'll
on
I
your
tr
average.
I try to do. based on the decade that I'm in for that set. So it's the 300 great cards, say, of the whole 20th century. So it's from 1900 to 1999. And luckily, when I started this 10 years ago, the cards were nowhere near expensive as they are now. I don't think if I had to start that set now, there's no way that
Yes.
I would get in the top 200.
Okay, gotcha.
So I started it 10 years ago, and I would try and get what they call collector's grade. The collector's grade is whatever the decade the card is, and that's the number you want. So if it's a card from the 80s, you would get an 8. You know, a card from the 70s, you want a
77. Right.
7, right? So in the beginning, I did really, really well, and I pretty much kept to that. When I finished all the 90s, 80s, and 70s, they're mainly all sevens, eights, and nines. But once you get into the 50s and the 40s,
Oh,
you
Mm.
it's hard to stay with the collector's grade. So basically, you're just going what you can afford and
Well,
what
yeah.
looks good, you know? So,
Well, hey, Ray, it's Patrick, man. I'm on the
hi,
East Coast, man. How you doing, buddy?
good. How are you?
Good. I mean, like, let me tell you, man, you're a Phillies guy. So what about like Mike Schmidt, like 74, 75, 76? I mean, do you have eights or nines on those? I mean, because
Yeah.
those are sweet cards, dude.
Yeah, my rookie is an 873,
Nice.
and
Nice. Well done.
thank you. And everything in the 70s are eights, and then nine, and from the 80s they're all nines. So
Wow.
yeah, that took a long time. I did that in 2016, and like I said back then, you know, it was a lot easier. And since the pandemic, we had this huge boom in 21 and 22, and the cards have just gone way up in value since then. But back then, I just got in at the right time. I was
Okay.
very lucky.
Is there a reason you like PSA more than say somebody else? I mean, is there?
I think because when I got involved in the set registry and they had to be PSA graded
Okay,
cards,
I
that was the
got you.
reason why I just stuck with PSA. Nothing against SGC. The slabs look 10 times better now than they ever did. They look great. And I have no problem with BGS, you know, with Beckett. But because I'm in all these set registries and, you know, people are like, well, you're pigeonholed now. You're only got to collect certain grading, which is fine. I don't really mind. You know, it is what it is. So I have no problem with just collecting one grading company.
Well, I've got to tell you, my favorite player back in the day was a 1985 Fleer Juan Samuel.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
Sammy.
amazing. He had
Yeah,
13 triples, I think. He was a rookie year, and I'm like, going, this guy's the next thing.
yeah, yeah. We all thought the same thing. He was a good player.
He was awesome,
Yeah,
wasn't
he
he?
was a good player. Yeah, he had speed.
Do you have a PSA 10 or a 9 of him? I mean,
No.
like, that'd be kind of cool to hear that.
I like to know who does.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Just like my fantasy of a Andy Van Slyke like 84 tops,
Yeah,
PSA 10. Does it exist? I have no
yeah,
idea.
yeah. I'm sure they're out there. Sure they're
Yeah.
out there.
definitely. Well, let me ask you this, Ray. So as far as like, obviously we appreciate you being on the show and taking the time to hang out with us for a few. You've been
Thank
making
you.
your rounds, right?
Yeah, I've been because of the Baseball Card Hall of Fame that started 2 weeks ago. I've been having
The
people
voting,
on
right? For the
for the
ballot.
voting, right? I've been having people on my channel. I've been going on some other people channels. So it's a busy month for sure. I'm halfway through it. There's 2 weeks left, and it's just going to get busier in the next 2 weeks. So it's a lot of fun, though. It's a labor of love.
It's like the drop dead date and time. Is it like the 13th of May at 11:59 p.m. or
it's
how do you set that up?
May 12th, 11:59
My
p.m.
birthday.
There you
Woo!
go.
See, the gift that
Hey,
keeps giving. Thank you, Ray.
No problem. I did that for you. I said
it's
I'm
a very
gonna.
commemorative thing. I appreciate that.
That's a
Although
You're
I
good.
CardBlitz
don't want people
special
to know
just
how
for you,
old I am,
buddy.
I'm like, that's okay.
No
Well, Ray,
problem.
I was gonna say how are the rounds going and any cool stories
Good.
you can share with our viewership?
The rounds are going good. I had Dr. Beckett on from Beckett Magazine. He's
Oh,
like a
great.
legendary person in this hobby. He was so insightful, and he gave me some good suggestions on maybe on some changes for the year in the future. And he goes through, I mean, I shared the ballot with him, and he went through each and every card. Even the ones he didn't vote on, he went through each one and told me whether or not he voted for this or didn't vote for this and why. And even
Wow.
if he didn't vote on it, just talked about that card. And his knowledge, let me tell you, he's Mr. Beckett. So
Yeah, for a reason.
yeah, and he was just fantastic. And then I've gone some other YouTuber channels. Mike Baseball Collector. I was on his show called The Golden Age of Cardboard Podcast, which I think he uploaded that today. And I'm going on a few other channels next week. It's been a lot of fun. Just seeing everyone's vote too, because I'll have them on or I'll be on their channel and they'll make their picks, and it's amazing how different everybody thinks.
Yeah.
You would think it's not like the Baseball Hall of Fame where it's pretty like
Secret.
everybody's going to vote for this guy.
Oh,
When,
okay. I thought it
when
was
it,
done in a shroud of secrecy.
everybody, the
Right.
cards, everybody, I can't reveal anything, but it's different. Everyone's different on picking cards.
Yeah, Ray, I got to tell you, man, I watched it. I'm like, I thought it was great, and I was like, I kind of like almost like got emotional, man, when you're like when they did the intro to the based on I mean, because it brought something back to me, like when I was a kid,
Yeah,
and I love that,
thank you.
and it was really cool. So I'm like, I mean, how did you get this thing started? I mean,
Well,
how did this thing like go? I have to do this. You woke up one morning, and go, man, this is great.
I was it was 2018. And I just sat there and I was thinking to myself one day, I can't understand why the actual Baseball Hall of Fame doesn't have cards in there. Baseball cards in the Hall of Fame are like peanut butter and jelly. They're
Right.
synonymous with each other. And of course, now they do. Now they actually have a wing. It's called
Oh,
Shoebox Legends or something
I did
like
not know
that.
that. Wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I went there a couple years ago. I'm like, now they have it. This is great. But in 2018, they didn't have anything in the Hall of Fame. So I said, I would like to create my own baseball card Hall of Fame. And I didn't know how to go about it at first. I'm thinking and thinking, I'm like, do I want to make this a contest or do I just want to make this a ballot kind of creation and people can make, vote for the, I don't know, 10. I mean, all these thoughts were just going through my head, but it
Right.
just started because I'm a big lover of the Hall of Fame. I've been to the Baseball Hall of Fame 3 times and I just love going there. I love the whole town of Cooperstown. It's just, it's a real throwback. It's just a tremendous town. The stores there, everything, Mickey's Place, Yastrzemski's. It's just a real awesome. It's purely heaven on earth. And I just wanted to do something that made it to the whole logo for the Baseball Card Hall of Fame is preserving hobby excellence. And I felt like that these cards needed to be remembered or idolized or something. And if they're not going
Maybe
into the
immortalized,
baseball,
right?
yeah, immortalized, right? And I said, if they're not going into the Baseball Hall of Fame, then darn it, I'm going to put them in my own Hall of Fame. And that's how it came about. And it's just, it started off the first year. I think I got 40 people voting. Then it went to like 80. Last year we had 914 votes. So I'm hoping to crack 1,000 this year. I'm halfway there. I just passed 500 votes, and
Nice.
but there's 2 weeks left. So I
Well,
think
we'll do
I
our
think I should
part
do it.
and we'll help get
Yeah,
the word out. And
that
no, man, Ray, I mean, anything that's worth having, it's got to be earned. And you're going through your steps and doing your work just like Patrick and I are with our own show. And
right.
it takes a lot of time and maybe some
Yeah,
kind-hearted people to help us grow these things, right?
it does.
Yeah.
It takes time. It really didn't explode for me until 2 years ago in year number 6. Actually, more so last year. And that was because of help with you guys like you and other YouTube channels that finally people, oh, is this the first year doing? I'm like, no, this is year number 7.
Yeah.
This was
Right. Right.
last year.
Right.
And they're like, oh, really? Well, I like, and that's how finally it took a while. It took
Well,
a while.
I got to tell you, Ray, when I watched it, I was like, this is incredible. This is awesome. I mean, these are the cards I love. And I
Yeah.
started going back to your stuff. I go, okay, this should be nominated. Oh, it's in the Hall of Fame. I'm like, that makes sense. What about this one? Yeah, my 6'8" Ryans. And yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And when people,
It was
here's
cool.
a funny
Yeah.
story when it comes to the ballot when people are look at the ballot and I make it a limit of no more than 10 cards.
Yes. Yeah, I like that.
People are going through the ballot, right? And it starts off, I think, with the most earliest year, like T206, let's say, and they're going through it, and they've already picked their 10 cards before they even get to the 1950s, and they're like, I didn't even get past the 50s yet, and there's still all these other cards, and then they got to go back and start over again because they're like, because there's so many awesome cards, and they're like,
Yeah.
they already went through 10 and they didn't even get to the 50s yet. And I'm like, and I tell everybody, don't vote while you're looking at it. Look at it first a couple times because I'm telling you, you're going to uncheck things and go back. So just go through it and then, write it down,
Everyone has
maybe make
their
like a,
different reasons why, right, Ray, of why they would choose a certain card over, one that you might think, hey, this is the obvious choice
Mhm.
or choices, but nostalgia and interest level, and then perhaps the particularities or the peculiarities of that card might sway some voters, and then that's going to offset your votes and your percentages, right?
Absolutely. Like, for example, there's two Tom Seaver cards in there right now.
Yes.
And was worried that having two of the same player was going to offset the other. And so far, it really hasn't done that, but I still believe that it does interfere with the other card because, like, it's his rookie card and then the 68. Well, a lot of people like the 68 because that's his first solo appearance on a card. But then people are like, well, I want the 67. I'm going to vote for that because that's his rookie. So when I think it's a little bit of a not an issue, but like a little bit of a minor concern to me when there's two players,
Well,
two
it's the
cards, the
same
same
reason
player.
why Topps came up with the rookie cup. I think they knew what's going to happen. They're like, I mean, that's a sweet card. 68's a sweet card.
Yeah, yeah. And the 60s, a lot of the rookies have they're on the multiplayer cards,
Yes.
and their second year cards are unbelievable. Like the
Yeah.
second year Johnny Bench is in before his rookie.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
That's
Oh,
my
really?
all-time
Okay, that's
favorite
cool.
card. So yeah, the
You probably started
second year
thinking about
cards are
like
great.
Thurman Munson, right?
Oh,
That's in
dude,
there
Thurman
too.
Munson
Yeah.
card's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
Munson's
This,
great.
got several great cards throughout the 70s. So,
yeah, his 71's in already. And so the second year is very, very popular. I'm trying to get a second year set registry created in PSA. I said, I know you have the post-war rookie Hall of Fame, but
That's
I
a good
think
idea.
you need to do the second year because a lot of people can't maybe afford the rookie. The next best thing is the second year, and it's still a great investment because it's their second year. And they're saying, well, we have so many requests, blah, 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 and we'll get to it. And I'm like, okay,
mhm.
you should get to it soon.
It's good. I mean, it's good stuff, man. I tell you, when I watched one of your with the inauguration of 2024, I was like, I started getting like emotional. I'm like, God,
Mhm.
wow, this guy knows what he's doing. I'm like, this is cool. I was like,
Thank
this
you.
is exactly what I was thinking.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I,
it,
I
it was
appreciate
powerful,
that.
man. I appreciate that, Ray. That
No,
was
thank
good.
you. I appreciate it. That was like the whole goal really was just that it was to bring people back to their childhood and also for the younger generation that are looking at this. I know
Yeah,
they all know the Trouts and the Cabreras of the world, but they might not know Christy Mathewson or they know the name, but this is getting them to go back and look back at this player's career.
absolutely.
So, and that was the whole thing was preserving hobby excellence, but also educating for the younger people to go back and not only learn about the game, but learn about the history of the game and the history of these players. No, they should not be forgotten. They're 100 years ago when they played, and everyone knows about Cabrera and they know about Shohei
Yeah,
and all that. I'm like, yo, take a look at Christy Mathewson, take a look at Walter Johnson, take a look at Bob Gibson.
Yeah,
yeah,
Tris
dude.
Speaker and
Yeah,
Roy Campanella. Yeah,
Absolutely.
dude. Take a look at 34. Like Hank Greenberg, dude. That guy was a slugger, man. I mean, he like crushed home runs.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool.
absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of those players at that time, they lost a lot of years to World War II.
Yeah.
Could you
service.
imagine what their numbers would have been? It's just,
Yeah, Ted Williams.
oh my
Oh,
God.
one of my favorite numbers. I wore number 9 playing baseball as a kid because of Ted Williams. I mean,
There
come
you
on.
go.
I mean,
Absolutely.
let's be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wore number 20 because of Mike Schmidt. That was my
Yeah,
idol.
Michael Jack Schmidt, dude.
Yeah,
He's a stud, man. He is a stud, dude.
it's my all-time favorite player. It's
Nice.
just awesome player.
Well, Ray, let me throw this to you, man. On your website, do you envision, because like right now it's done by class, right?
Yes,
And
sir. Yeah.
so for each year, do you think you'll ever have like a tab or an index that be broken up by player, and then you look up like the years across to
Yeah.
as like a cross-referencing kind of opportunity.
Yeah, rather than people going in and out through each classes, I'm going to create when this year's ballot's done to have a chronological list so it'll be a lot easier to see everything rather than going in the 2018 class that coming
Oh,
out,
that's cool.
going into 19 coming out, because people want to look at something a little bit quicker. So when they're voting, they're saying, is this card in? Well, you can just click a button here that shows every card together in chronological order by year. So starting from, say, the 1909 T206 and 1914 Cracker Jack, whatever it is, and it'd be a lot easier rather than going in and out of the classes. And I like going in and out of the classes because it each year deserves its own
Yeah.
doorway or own room. But
Right.
at the same time, when people are voting, I want to have like a separate tab that everything's together, and then you could just go through it a lot easier that way. That's in the works too.
Well, I was thinking selfishly. You mentioned Mike Payne in his book. I was thinking, well, what if folks say, "Hey, I want to go on a baseball card Hall of Fame run. Hey, do you have all the, Yogi Berras that have been inducted, or do you have all these such and such players?" So,
As a reference, man, that's cool. I
yeah.
like
I've
that.
I've already put in the request
Nice.
with PSA to have this created as a set registry. Someone
Good for you, man.
and
Great stuff.
I got the idea from God bless him, Dr. Beckett. He's like, have you contacted PSA to create this as a set registry? And I was just all of a sudden like, I was like,
Yeah.
You were
no, I have
enlightened.
not done that. He's like, you should. I'm like, I will. I said I sent the request out a week ago. Now it takes a long time, but and I know someone over there that's in charge of the set registry, a lovely lady named Cassetta, and I messaged her and she knows my name, and I'm like, before you send this off to your committee, call me please so I can make my push for this a little bit stronger because this needs to happen. This you need to have a set registry for this.
Yeah, that's great. I like that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, let me ask you this. So I know you do baseball and you've recently done football.
Yes, I have two
And so like
gentlemen.
I'm like, tell me about your football experience. I mean, is that just a adaptation of what baseball can bring? I mean, because football's great. I'm a big football collector as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Football just finished its third year on football.
Okay.
My goal was I wanted to do all four sports or more. I mean,
Oh,
if
great.
I could
That's
do
cool.
more, that's great. But I wanted to. I run the baseball one, but I have two guys, Bart of Bart's Cards and Scott of Scotty Tradition. That's their YouTube channels. They are the
Okay.
two best football experts on YouTube. And I said, you guys want to run my football card Hall of Fame? Like, I'll just oversee it, but you guys are doing all the rules. Yeah. So we just
Look,
finished
it's the
our
same
third year.
concept applied to football, though.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
But they lowered the amount of cards this year going in. It used to be 10 the first 2 years, similar to baseball. But since football
The
doesn't have
history,
as many cards,
I'd
right?
agree with that.
if they did 10 a year, or if we did 10 a year every year, we kind of washed out by year like 10.
Right.
So I suggested, and they said, yeah, definitely. They lowered it to five to stretch this out a lot longer. Because football, I think the 30s, you can go back to the football, like the
Yeah,
1935
Nagurski,
national,
yeah, that
the
famous one.
Bronco
Yeah.
Nagurski, right? The national chickle.
Mhm.
Baseball, you can go back to the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get some Bobby Lanes in there. You throw in some like, yeah,
In the 50s.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're saying though, Ray, about like, yeah, the 50-year difference between T206 or the late 1880s and the 1930s.
right, right.
Big difference.
And there's going to be the same website that I created for baseball card. After I'm done with the baseball card Hall of Fame ballot this year, a football card Hall of Fame website will be up.
okay, cool.
And then I'm starting a third sport, probably in a month, for basketball.
You think
So there's
so?
going to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
a
cool, man.
basketball card Hall of Fame, which that's probably going to be approached the same way as football because they don't go back as far as baseball does. I don't think anything goes back as far as baseball
Well,
does.
that's why
all
baseball is
rich
beautiful,
history. Yeah.
man.
That's why baseball is the greatest sport in the
Baseball is
world.
beautiful, man. It's awesome.
There isn't a more perfect sport created
I,
to
I, to,
me than baseball.
I mean, I was totally enamored with like when I watch it. I go, man, this is great, man. And like touch a couple things. I go, this guy has got. He knows what's going on here. It was
I
pretty
just
cool, man. I loved it. I
thank
was
you.
like, this is
Thank
great.
you.
Okay.
It's the great game. It's a great game.
And I've never seen a 1914, cracker like Grover Alexander. I'm like, wow, that card's sweet.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a
there
pretty
was.
cool card.
Let me explain something. Before did this baseball card Hall of Fame, there's a card that's been on the ballot now. I think this is its third year under the 1968 Topps 3D Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, I saw that on there. Yeah.
I never knew about that card until someone
Is that a
recommended.
velvet or it's a 3D
It's a
actually? Like a
3D card. Like you
wow.
move it,
Cool,
it's
man.
3D. And there's no cards out there high graded because 3D cards have a tendency to crack and all that.
Yes.
So the highest you might see in that is like a 5. But that card is minimum $10,000 for like a PSA 3 or something.
Really?
It's a very,
Wow.
very expensive card.